Good evening, everyone.
Good morning, Dr. Ting.
Hi. You all can hear me, no problem, huh?
Yes, doctor.
So do your QR. Anyone else not done yet with your QR? I see a lot of old people's name here because you joined the second SEM. Yeah. Okay. All right. If there's no more attendance, we'll get started with the lecture. Okay. It's a Sunday, so I guess everyone wants to finish early so that you can go for a nice lunch with your family. Okay. Just this afternoon, we would not have any physical, as in online face-to-face class. Okay. And I will post up pre-recorded. I've prepared pre-recorded lecture. So there is about 100, my pre-recorded lecture, for those who doesn't know, usually will be about 10 minutes per recording. So one recording 10 minutes, one recording 10 minutes, and it's been labeled properly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 12, for example. So you just have to follow the sequence. And then the good thing is you don't have to open up, like it's not a big file. So what you need to do is just open up 10 minutes, you listen to it. And then if you still have time, you listen to another 10 minutes and then another 10 minutes. If let's say you're a bit busy, then you can stop and then come back later for the second, fourth or fifth recordings and so on and so forth. So I think I prefer it that way because if I give you a very big recording, like a 2 hours recording, on my end, sometimes if I make any mistake or I actually want to record it all over again, it's going to be very, 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 very long to start all over again. And there are times that I actually forgot to press record, and I thought for like, almost like 1 hour and I realized that it's not recorded, so this sort of things happen. So I normally now I want to just do 10 minutes, yeah. And the other thing is for you all, if you receive a big files, it's going to be difficult for you all to carry around with you. Sometimes your line may not be good. So to download the big files, like 2 hours or 3 hours class, it's going to be very, very long. So yeah, it's better for you all to just take it, 10 minutes. So it's a lot easier. And then it's a lot easier to find back the parts that you don't understand. Okay. I'm not introducing myself because I did see some names that are not very familiar, a few. Okay. Yeah, but I think most of you are in my project management class, and some of you I've taken some of you in legislation class last SEM. Okay. And I think I've also taken you guys for something. I don't remember actually. I'm a bit blur already. Yeah. Last sem. Yeah. So yeah, so I will introduce myself. But I'm Dr. Ting here, Ting. If you need anything, you can just email me. Okay. I'll put my email here. Okay. But we will see each other a lot lah, because essentially this particular MSc class, I'll be taking you guys for 3 subjects. Say QM is one of them. PM majority I'll be taking you for PM, and then legislation also you'll be seeing me a lot in second sem. So yes, so that would be the 3 subjects that I'm taking you. This one here, I've reduced my portion because previously we've got QM was actually taken by myself and the civil team of people like Madam Rohaida, then and Dr. Lee, but we realized that is actually very but I realized that is actually not so, because what we are doing is more on a project management kind of quality management, not so much of quality management in a factory or in a very data heavy kind of environment. So it's very different. And most of the external examiner or the industrial advisory panel that came, they are quite into a lot of techniques and a lot of calculations, that sort of things from the manufacturing and the mechanical people, actually more from the manufacturing and production people, you see. So we've decided just to let the mechanical manufacturing lecturer take over this subject, and I only do project management, quality management with you, and we reduce that portion significantly because we feel like it's not to say it's not so important, but the usage of it for some of you may not be that great, is it that much? It's more on a project basis kind of quality management. So many of people are actually from different environment like manufacturing and production, mechanical. So I think we just leave it to the mechanical people to run the class lah. Yep. But anyway, in the first place, the syllabus was actually written by myself, and yeah, project management, quality management, and also legislation and contract administration, contract management was actually done by myself lah. So yeah, I'm quite familiar with all this. If you have any issues, you can look for me. But the coordinator of this particular course, QM course, is actually Dr. Shelley, you see. Yeah. Yep. And she's taking you a lot with this calculation kind of base classes. So I hope that you gain more from her lah, huh? Okay. Now let's not be too long-winded about this. Let's get started. Any questions so far? I've put my email on the chat already. Okay, so you can open that up and have a look. All right. So the focus here is actually project quality management. Okay. I on my camera for a little while, in case some of you who has not met me before want to just say hello. Yep. Okay. So what I'm doing with you guys will be more on project quality management. And project quality management is a little bit different from general quality management, whereby you're dealing with production or manufacturing or specific or a specific system that needs certain testing method, like such as water quality, for example. What else? Those very laboratory based kind of experiments and all that. So it's actually a little bit different. The context is a little bit different actually. Yeah. So what we're focusing on is the project type of quality management, whereby every system that you created is actually quite specific for your own project. So if you come from different industry, if you're embarking onto a project, like maybe it's an IT project, maybe it's a construction project, you can act, or even a banking project or whatever, like shipping, construction of a shipyard, these sort of things are actually all very individual in a way. It's very specific in a way. So the system that you create in terms of quality for specific projects are actually different. In fact, from project to project can be very different also. For example, in construction, we will have civil work, structural work, building bridges, building jetties, building wharves. We'll be building specific high rises, you see. So all this, the way that we manage quality are actually a little bit different from project to project. So actually it is not, it basically gets you guys to remember that, you cannot have one formula and then you just have to apply to everything. Whereby with manufacturing, with productions, with very lab design of experiment tests kind of quality management, they tend to be a bit more into formulation, into a specific way of collecting data and then specific way of studying the data and getting the results, and then from there do certain rectification work or finding out on the root causes. So that those kind of work are very, I wouldn't say that it's very confined, I mean, but it is definitely more systematic. Okay, yeah, that's the word I should use. When we have manufacturing production, their quality management systems are actually very, very, very specific, so specific in a way that they are not, I mean, I'm not from the industry, but this is how I look at it, you see. So it is very strict. It is actually one system that can be used repetitively for the same or for certain production line, certain type of materials or certain type of product. They can use it quite repetitively, but obviously they also need to change, if the production line gets, changes or differ, or the factories get differ from one another. Yes, they do change, but the formulation of it is quite one style in that sense, and it's more easy to manage in the way. So you can say it's more static, one type, one-off kind of systems. I mean, if you ask, I'm sure people like Amira, Amalina or Amira, they all, is it Amira, you're from, the factory environment. So you kind of get like, the production lines, from production line to production line is quite systematic. It's quite the same, throughout. Yeah, but for project management, you tend to get different activities with different, I think it's the activities, we have from quality management for project, your activities can be quite differing, like quite different, even though it may be same building high-rise project or school project, but there are activities that are completely different from one project to another project, you see. So that's why it's more dynamic, it's more it tests the quality manager more in the sense, because you're in a less confined environment, you're actually in a more open kind of environment, and your site can be quite big, quite huge, over a long place. Like even if you do an IT project, for example, the data collection can be very wide from a lot of audiences and all that. So in fact, it's a little bit harder to manage compared to a factory environment whereby everything is more enclosed, the system is more fixed, and it doesn't differ too much from one line to the other line. So when you create the systems, you can repetitively use it quite effectively, you see. So for project, it's actually you need to think about the system again and again when the project differs, you see. So I do not want to very specifically mention what industry, because otherwise some industry may be saying that, you know, we are very complicated as well, you know. You cannot say that we are not complicated, we're too static or whatever, you know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not from that particular industry, so I'm from construction. You see, I'm quite all my life I've been in construction, so yeah. Okay, I am sharing my screen, yeah, and I am doing my recording. Okay, good. Right. So I think this morning's lecture, we're going to be going through the context of project quality, the context of it first, and then after that, we'll be following up with quality management system. What are quality management systems, and what is in the quality management system, and what must be there for you to create a system. Okay, so this is what it is about this morning. So this afternoon, 12 o'clock class, at the end of the class, I will take another attendance for this afternoon's class. Then you don't have to come back later for the attendance. Okay, what we do is for this afternoon, I will post up the pre-recording, and then this afternoon's pre-recording is going to be the quality management systems, every component of the quality management systems, like all the components within a good quality management systems. We will explain it in a lot more detail, and we will tell you that, you know, for a QMS, you need QP, QA, QC, and what is in QP. So this afternoon's class will be starting from what is in QP, what is in QA, what do you do, you know, what documents do you use, you know, and it's more of a practical, trying to get you guys to be able to create your own QMS, your own quality management systems. That is the aim of this afternoon's lecture. So this afternoon, you just have to spend time. If you don't have time later, or you want to go for it later, it's also can, or tonight is fine. I think I will try to post it up, maybe not so early lah. I mean, I've already pre-recorded everything, but I need to convert that to YouTube, you know. So that one will be a lot longer. So I would say you try to go for it by tonight or tomorrow morning. Tomorrow lah, I think will be a better chance that everything will be there. Okay. Yeah. So, but tonight you can try to listen to maybe a few of them if it's available already. I will post it out as soon as they are being processed. Okay. All right. So that one you listen to pre-recording. I will also set out some very simple questions for you to answer for the pre-recorded classes. The answer will be within the recording itself, just to make sure that you all will listen to it. It's very important, okay, to listen to your pre-recorded classes, because here I can tell you that this time for QM, I won't be setting any assignments or project for you guys. It will be not from me at all. But this particular topic that we're covering here today and this afternoon, I will have one exam questions later on. Okay. Yeah, so there'll be one exam questions on this. So yeah, you need to listen to the pre-recorded classes and to come back to your. I've normally record this and I'll post it up also as a full recording. This one here, if there are parts that you are not sure or you don't understand, or for whatever reason, you have to come back to it and also re-listen to it. That's the purpose. Don't get lazy with pre-recording. You know, my pre-recording is very simple. You just have to click on the link, because I've already converted everything to YouTube. Click on the link, it will directly bring you to YouTube. You listen to it. If you like it, you can download it. If you don't like it, it's all in eLib already anyway. Okay, so please be a bit more, you know, don't take it as a online classes and then you feel like it's okay, you know, there's no class means that there's nothing, you know. Some students got that kind of imagination that they just don't bother to listen to pre-recorded classes. I don't know why. Yeah. All right, so I think here in terms of project quality, I think we need to be, of course, you know, the main thing is time, cost, quality, and you know, we have a friend who really likes safety. Yes, safety is definitely part of this triangle as well. But like I say, initially when we start the project, we need to be looking into time, cost, quality a lot more in that sense. So the triangle here, I didn't put in safety because these three are more tightly related to each other when it comes to planning. Okay, when it comes to the initial conceptualization and development part of the project, we will be focusing on time, cost, quality a lot more. And a lot of us do not focus on quality, okay? Because quality, if you do get this idea, quality is not so quantitative compared to time and cost. When we talk about time, we can give a specific numbers. You know, we need to finish the project within 18 months, or within 2 hours, or within the production needs to run for 16 hours. The numbers is very, very clear, you know. And then cost is like, oh, we got to do this within 2 million. We got to do this within 15 million. We've got to do this within 300,000. It is so clear, you know, it is so specific. But with quality, we have a very, very in-depth issues of, it's very much customers dependent, you see, and it is very much tied in with mentality, okay, and that could bring subjectivity into the subject. With cost and time, you can hardly bring any subjectivity into it, but with quality, you can bring a lot of subjectivity into it. You know, if you're not careful, you will end up being having a lot of difficulty trying to manage quality, because it is, you feel like it's really, really subjective, and it deals a lot with human input, with human mentality, and even to some point emotional and feelings and all that, which of course is not healthy when it comes to project. Okay, right. So project construction quality, like I say, is always on customers' needs. You know, it's a satisfaction of that customer's needs as per the budget. So, you know, how do you say that I'm doing good quality work? You know, how do you say that we have the team, the project construction team or the project team has reached the level of desired, you know, the desired excellency? How? Most of the new age sort of mentality are usually based on customer satisfaction. In the older days, it's about checking. If the checking is not passed, if the certain criteria is not passed, or you know, they don't like, you know, the project manager or the team don't like what they see, they will reject it. You know, so it's pretty much based on checking and rejection sort of quality management. So we have sort of deviated from that, especially for project quality management, into customer satisfaction, into client satisfaction, into fulfilling the needs of the client. So we must, first and foremost, if we want to do quality management for every single project that we embark onto, we must be very seriously think about what is quality. You have to define your quality first. So quality in general, of course, is about the features, the final product, that it fulfills the level of requirement, or it provides the characteristic of the product and the services that is supposed to satisfy the needs of the people calling for it. Projects are usually people calling for it. Your client needs to call for it, you see. It, like when we mentioned in the project management class, is project life cycle. It is about a client having desire, a need, you know, a demand, you know, there be market demand or whatever. So you need to create a product that fulfills that needs, that demands, okay, or that idea that the client has. Basically, the client can be the end users, the client can be the people paying. So I just use the word client in general here, or we can use the word stakeholders if you want to. Yeah, but generally client, make it easier to understand, it will be client. So that product itself will be required by the client. So whatever project that you embark onto, the final features and the characteristic or the performance or what is required from that particular product must be able to fulfill the stated needs and implied needs. So that is very basic. Okay, and then the quality, there are other layers of conforming the quality to certain requirements. It could be standards, it could be certain codes, it could be certain government regulation. Okay, and then it also fulfills its needs. So I will always like to say that the first one is always like, I like this particular quality definition of your project. You see, for those of you doing undergraduate with me before, you've seen this before. You see, I normally think that it's multidimensional. At the very basic, it must be able to be used. You see, so if you buy a pen and the pen has no ink, you cannot write. This is level 1 out already. You'll be throwing the pen into the bin and get a new one, correct now? You see, if you buy a bottle, a water bottle, and it's leaking, or you can't drink from it, the straw or whatever is not working. So that means it's not fulfilling its basic intended use and features. Okay, and some of it, yes, you can drink, but there is a small leakage. There's some defects. Okay, so then it is not good as well. So the first layer is it should be generally no defects, generally fulfilling that basic intended use, or it has that features that fulfill the use. Basic intended use, or we call this fit for its intended purpose. Okay. Fit for intended purpose. So that is a very, very common basic definition. I mean, if you can't fulfill this basic definition, you don't talk about quality at all. You just have to go home and redesign everything, honestly. Yeah. And then second layer is it will have to, not only it can be used, it has to fulfill certain standards, certain standards given by certain statutory body or the designers. So if the designers design this to be the piles to be able to take, 3 tons or 4 tons of load or 5 tons of load, then so be it. It has to take 5 tons of load. So that is conforming to certain specification given by the designer. For statutory bodies, like maybe councils, maybe I don't know, timber association, maybe I don't know, the whatever is from the manufacturing, like DID, like drainage authority, water authority, they will have to give you some standards. Okay, and these standards can be also very simple, very, very basic design codes. You see, so design codes can be a standard that you need to fulfill as well. All right, and then so certain authority, they may have certain requirement. Even though your drain can do its fit for its intended purpose at 450 mm, okay, but if the authority stated the minimum that you must design your drain is, or you build a drain is 500 mm, so it has to be 500 mm. So even though your 450 mm, your 400 can do the basic intended use already, you still need to conform to the authority standard. It's just that a lot of our students design pipelines. They will design, and due to many reasons, they will go for like maybe high density polyethylene pipe. But Water Board Authority around Kuching Sibu area, they would say that for project less than certain numbers of houses, you must use ductile iron pipe. So even though the high density polyethylene pipe can actually do the job, but you still need to design, you still need to build with ductile iron pipe. So that is what we mean by conforming to standards, because most projects at the end of the day, especially for construction, a lot of the maintenance work are actually taken over by the authority. For example, development of houses, many of the features will be maintained. Besides within the gate of your own houses or the gate of your own area, like apartment, you have a gate, isn't it? Within that area is maintained by the owner and the body corporation themselves. The road, the sewage, the pipeline, the drains, they are all maintained by the councils, by the different authorities. So they need to have a say, because at the end of the day, they don't want you to pass some rubbish to them, you see, and then they're going to have a huge cost trying to maintain. Okay, and For infrastructure project, of course, all of these facilities like the highway, the water treatment plant, the raw water intake tank, the distribution lines, they are all maintained by relevant authorities, relevant government authorities. At least that is it in Malaysia. Of course, there are some places whereby you have a semi-private government organization doing this sort of maintenance O&M. Yeah, but again, the money has to be paid by the government, you see. So they need to know, then they will give you what standards, and you need to find out what standards that they are looking at as well. So it just cannot be fit for its intended purpose. It can use, good enough, you know. The level 1 is it can use, it has no obvious defects. That's it, we finish. Then long durability, the third layer is once everything is there, you know, can be used already. Of course, the next thing is we hope that it can last. Yeah. Long durability, we hope that it can last. It's just like you buy a car. The fit for its intended use is you can drive it, it can run on the road, it can get you to destination without breaking down every trip with every 30 meters, you see. So that is fit for its intended use. So the car is conforming. It has to be some Malaysian standards, you know, by the Malaysian government, or some manufacturing standards, some designer standards. Okay, so that is a fit, you know. Then, of course, the next thing is durability. You want your car to last for at least 5 years. You don't want your car to, like, you buy your car and then later on every 3 years or 2 years, then you start to have, you know, problems. You know, you don't want it to bring more worries to you, correct now? Yeah. So level 3 is always about length. You know, it's about length of usage, lifespan. Okay. Durable. Okay, you want your battery to be durable. You want your phone to be durable. You want your computer to be durable. Okay, so not durable is also a features that we will call for. So that that we do not like, and we do not think that is a good product if it's not durable. Correct now. Then of course there is high level of performance. So if your car can last for 5 years, then the next thing that you probably want is a car to have high performance, meaning, you know, you step on the pedal, it can go from 0 to 100 in 30 seconds or something like that, you know. Or if you're building a Ferrari or you're building a sports car, then the whole performance is a lot more different from if you're building an SUV or a car that, you know, you just need to drive on normal roads, for example. You know, a Proton, or, you know, whatever, you know. Then we have then of course we need to be highly reliable, meaning that not only is high performance, this is about minimum breakdown. Okay, we do not want it to be having a lot of repair, a lot of maintenance work going on. You know, you need it to be working. You know, when there's a class, we need the line to be working. We don't want it to be like every 20 minutes you got kicked out. You see, so it has to be highly reliable. So these features is about how you define quality. It can be very quantitatively, it can be very qualitatively, but there are different levels to it. We have to realize that. And serviceability is basically you can use it in many environments. You can drive your car on the road, you can drive your car into the site, you can drive your car long distance onto very into very bad condition roads, into logging roads, you know. So those are serviceability in various environments. Okay, meaning that you can use your thing in, you know, your facilities or your product, you know, in many environments. Okay, in environment that is people think that, you know, you can't, but actually you can, right? So 7, aesthetic means that it has to be attractive to the eyes, and of course, attractive to the eyes is starting to be very subjective at this point in time. You know, I always like to say that, you know, I'm sure if I ask, you know, I mean, if you see each other and I ask you who is the prettiest girl in the class, you know, I think every guy will probably have a, you know, a very different opinion of what is pretty, isn't it? Just like I asked all the ladies here, who are the most handsome boy in the class, you know, and then you all will have a different point of view. Some will say this guy, some will say that guy, you know. Obviously, you didn't see each other now, but yeah. So if I ask you later to vote, you see, you will probably you will probably give me all sorts of different names, you see. But of course, there will be one or two that are very standard. They are very standard features, everything very standard, good looking, very standard, pretty. So these people will probably be able to stand out quite standard in a way. Huh? So aesthetic also, we have certain standards. It's just like human, if are you pretty or are you good looking, there are certain line up, like, your forehead with your nose, with your mouth, with your chin, there must be like one third. That's what standard is, you see. Your body, you must be 170 cm tall for girls, and 180 mm minimum height for guys. So those are very standard aesthetic. So if you fulfill the standard aesthetic, you could actually say that these things are fulfilling that requirement. But if you do not have that standard, that everything is to the eyes, that it becomes a very subjective, very emotional kind of thing, you see. And of course, the last bit is sensory. Sensory means something that you really cannot explain. You just have a good feeling about it. You just have a good, you just have a liking towards that. So that is perceived quality. Obviously, perceived quality is almost impossible for you to gauge in terms of quantitatively. It is completely not subjective at all. I mean, it's completely not objective at all. It's completely subjective, actually. Yeah. So when we look at quality and definition of quality, you see, there's plenty of definition. Okay. So quality is about the features, total features, and the characteristic of a product that base its ability to satisfy implied needs. And then there are other several descriptions as well. A relative quality, which is absolute and related to a comparison of features and characteristics of a product. It can be relative to something, okay? Bridge can be relative to other bridges around the area, okay? House can be relative to other houses around the area. Certain products can be relative to the previous product as well. And product based are usually about the product attribute. So if you're manufacturing, if you're building flooring systems, you're building concrete mix, for example, it has to be certain attributes there that the product will have to fulfill. Product attribute. Okay, user base will be starting from fixed for its intended use all the way up to other level as well. Manufacturing also will be conformance to certain specifications. And of course, value is about whether it's cheap, whether it's good. Then there is another layer of quality. So it's a performance versus the conformance to cost. Okay, so highly performing, low cost, low performance, but the cost is also low, then you have a value, you have certain value. So it depends on what you're going for in a way. Okay, and then we will see there are other things, conformance. There's a lot of this quality, new age quality, modern concepts of quality focus on customer satisfaction and conformance to customers' requirement. Okay, more than fixed for intended use. Okay, and then conformance to customers' requirement, customer satisfaction. So a lot of customers, it's all about client satisfaction. It's all about fulfilling the needs of the stakeholders. And those are the typical quality definition in today's term. Okay, in today's term of quality management. And quality management here we're talking about is project quality management. Okay, and then there are other definitions like transcendent, product-based, user-based. I think this one is just manufacturing based. It's pretty much the same, value based. These are the same as what we've mentioned just now. Okay, and of course my favorite is this one, the level of quality. Okay, so quality is difficult, like I say, to look at, to define first, because it is actually related to, it is actually a relative measurement. Why? Because relative measurements means that it has to be from somebody. If let's say it is the clients, and if this product is actually well received or not by the audiences, okay, and whether this product in the first place was set up by somebody who has certain idea or minds of what the product should be like, then it is relative to them. So it's always a relative measurement, and it's very difficult to have an absolute measurement. That's why I say quality is something that we kind of avoid. We sometimes try to subconsciously try to avoid talking about it because it is not absolute. Time is absolute, cost is absolute, but quality, good quality, high quality, they are all different. And what is good quality to me may be high quality to you. What I feel is normal may be very okay to you already. So it depends on the person giving the marks to it, and or the person receiving the product at the end of the day. So that's why whether it's project quality or general quality management, it is a little it's about the features, if measurements, it's very fixed. But when it comes to project quality, we emphasize a lot on customers. We emphasize a lot on this relativity. Okay, so do you guys understand where we are going here? I mean, like you need to understand the context that is different from, when you're running a factory, and when you have a production line, when you're doing quality management, you can set up, those are very product-based, manufacturing-based kind of product quality management, whereby project is, you are dealing with a lot of features. You're dealing with, first and foremost, one project will not be able to repeat itself all the time. No way. Okay, every project is a one-off. Once you've got this project finished, the next project will not be the same again, even though it can be on the same land, it can be on the same direction, it can be next to the older project. It doesn't matter. It is not the same project anymore. The activities are different, the resources quantity are different, even the resources type can be different, even the general environment is different from one another. Like I said, even if you build one road 2-lane and then 3 years later you build another 2-lane road next to that 2-lane road, it's the same location, you can even use the same design, but when you construct it, it's very different. It's very different because at that time the traffic will be different. You're not building on an empty piece of land anymore. You have traffic next to it. The way you manage it will be very different, you see. And we've done project raw water intake. It used to be there's a raw water intake here at this location, more upstream. And now because that one is getting old, you want to build another one. Even if you use the same design, build another one like 3 or 4 kilometers down the streams, it's different. It's a different project. Same river, probably the same features in the river, same project, but it is different. Why? Because time has passed. Your resources that you use is different, and then the river conditions can be different. The river flow, the hydraulic dynamics can be very different. Hydrological flow can be very different after 2-3 years. So we cannot always have. It's impossible for every project to be the same. Production, you do production now compared to you do your same with the same thing next 2 weeks or next 2 months, next 2 years. They are supposed to be the same because everything is automated, whereby constructions are not automated, projects are not automated. It cannot be automated. There is no features here that's cut out the project same one by one. There's no stamp that goes like cut. We have the same thing. Impossible. So therefore, to manage project quality, you've got to tailor it. You have to tailor it. You cannot use the same formula for it. And that is the difference between project quality management and general quality management. Okay, I hope you get the gist lah, huh? And this bit here, we are going through things like concept of quality lah, huh? Historical concept of quality. I think, do I have to go through this? I mean, maybe not. Okay, it's just for your interest of reading lah. In fact, the word quality really only pops out after World War II, and then it comes back, especially not really World War II. I mean, during industrialization, whereby workers starts to go to the factory and work in the factory environment when you're doing production, when doing mass production instead of craftsmanship. When we do craftsmanship, one item is done by one craftsman over a period of time, those sort of quality is different from when you started to have industrial revolution, whereby everything is done based on a mold, and we try to be there. We try to automate production line and produce everything in a mass kind of format. It used to be you want to build a table, in 1890 or in 1880, when you want to build a table, the craftsman will build a table, or your family member will go and cut the wood, and then do the wood and build it up. But then when the industrialization comes in the West, in Europe, especially in Britain, they actually bring this concept of industrialization to the world. And instead of one guy build one table, now table can be built in a few hours, through automation. Yeah, engine can be built through automation. So this is a time that we realize that, how come we have issues with quality? And then this is the sort of type of concept when it comes to mass production. And at that time, we do not, I would say that is the birth of quality, and we featured this more on quality control during the 1920s and 1930s, during World War I, whereby you do need a lot of resources, a lot of post-war, pre-war, like when you have war, you need a lot of things, like firearms, bullets, bombs, all sorts of things, and then after the war, when you need to rebuild the country, after World War I, you need to rebuild the country, you need mass production. You cannot have one guy working there, doing one thing for the whole day, you see. So mass production came in, and then World War II came in again. And this is a part that a lot of the work now go into mass production, and we focus on quality control, meaning a lot of inspection work going on. Inspection, and then you will look at whatever that is produced, you identify, you take certain samples and you quarantine them, then you check them with features measurement, and then after that you release them. If it's not good, then what do you do with the rest of the other product? So these are the things that we do in the earliest era of quality management, is talking about quality control, okay, and that is the birth of quality management. Then when we go into the industrial manufacturing, especially after World War II, I think we do have a lot of very famous guru coming up, people like Deming, Duran, Ishikawa, these are people coming up, and then we started to talk about statistical quality control, whereby when the mass production is reached, statistical control means that you will look at not only the features of the product and reject, throw it out kind of thing. You will take the numbers and you will study the numbers so that you know that what are the issues here with the whole batch, you see. So those are on control charts and sampling. These are statistical processes. So we start to deal a lot with data, a lot of data, dealing with data, so that you can find out that in the next batch we still have the same problem, you see, and based on statistical processes. So these are the flow of work. So this is post-war era. So post-war era, we have a lot of these important people start to come out, and they started to say that it is not only about checking, it's not only about inspection, it's about the way that we do things. And I think Japan at that time would be one of the most. Japan follows United States very carefully, because the Japanese, once they have, they lost the war basically to the Americans, so they actually rival to the Americans a lot, you see. So they becomes like an American buddy in that sense, because that is just a Japanese mentality. I'm the loser, you're the winner, so therefore you have a lot of things that I need to learn from you. So you see, they are still quite US orientated in that sense, up until today even. So yeah, they have always been the friends of the United States in that way. So, but this Joseph Duran and the Mings and these people, they are actually from the United States, and then so what happened is the Japanese actually because of industrialization, because they need to rebuild their country very fast after the World War II, they are producing a lot of surveillance goods and trades and all that. They need that, you see. So they bring in these people, you know, to actually help them to look at how to do quality input. Quality management, to do good quality output product. And obviously, because quality, if your product keep on having rejection, there's going to be a lot of money involved. There's going to be a lot of cost involved in throwing away or, you know, rejecting the whole batch and all that. So it is getting expensive. It's not because the Japanese think that everybody should have good things, you know. It's just that it will get expensive if things keep on be rejected on the manufacturing level, you see. So therefore, they are actually quite I would say Japanese, one thing very admirable about them. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, I like Japanese or not like Japanese. This is a completely different thing, you know, but I do think that they have a features there that we should learn from, is being disciplined. And they do have quite a strong will when it comes to completing certain tasks, okay? And that is something that I think is worth every one of us, even, you know, from Southeast Asia here, to study, you know, and to actually look at why they can actually be able to create products that is so widely accepted, you know, being an Asian country, being at the brunt of a really difficult time during World War II. I mean, everybody has difficult time after World War II, correct or not? Japanese, the Southeast Asian, Chinese, Koreans, we all have very different, very difficult time after World War II. But they are able to emerge with a lot of products that was actually surprisingly very famous up to today. You know, like brands like Panasonic, Sony, Toyota, Honda. So these are something that we should actually look at and see why they succeeded, you know, in that sense, whereby everybody was probably very bad at this. You know, we are all equal. Our level ground are all equal during World War and after World War. We are all on an equal platform, you know. So how come their product becomes so famous, you know? Why not our protong, you know, become so famous? Why? You see, so we have to acknowledge that when it comes to these sort of quality issues, quality management, one thing I realized that is the discipline of the people working on it and trying to fulfill it is something that will be the last critical success factor. We can have expert coming in. You know, Malaysia can engage a lot of experts, even from Denmark, from Australia, from United States. You can bring in the whole ISO organization to come to Malaysia and teach all the Malaysians how to do quality, you know, management. But in the end, I think we can do that, you know, and then we can have money to set up very expensive factories. We can set up, use very latest equipment, okay? We can have engineers that can do very great creative, innovative design, that's fine. But in the end, it is always that bit of control and monitoring, whereby do we actually have that final discipline of rejection, final discipline of trying to fulfill the particular specification, the determination, and also the discipline to do continuous auditing, continuous monitoring. You know, it's just like if our workers, for me, it's just like if my workers, 1 month I may be very, very hot about quality, you know, and the next month when my work on site starts to go on, and then my worker starts to give me a lot of issues and rubbish, you know, and a lot of crappy things, you know, I start to get very, very disheartened. So I will still try to educate them, try to get them to do better, you know, still try to get my pet out and do the checklist and do the control and everything. I will still do that, okay? But after 6 months, I may get to be a point, I go like, oh boy, you know, I'm giving up, you know. And then by the end of the project, is like, I'll just get it finished, you know. And then we don't have that system in a way that makes us really be really disciplined and be really determined in doing what we set out to do in the first place. So we kind of deviate a little bit after, it's just, we all deviate, but it's just a matter of how much you deviate in terms of quality. So, like Japanese goods and products, especially like Toyota, it takes them about 30 years actually to be able to get into the US market. And these people just go back and come, go in, they cannot get in, they look at why they cannot get in, and then they repair, they go in again, they come back again, ding dong, ding dong. How many people have 30 years kind of determination? I don't know, you see. So we really need to think about that, you see. And yeah, like even in United States, they do have very good products. Boeing is definitely one of the good products that they have, the plane, but now it's also all dropping. And why? Because it comes into the economic sense. A lot of money comes into play, then quality starts to drop. I mean, it is quite common in that sense. You may have a very, very good quality product that really are so good that the world acknowledge it. You can close your eyes and I will buy it, and I will not think that anything will happen, that sort of thing. That is what Boeing planes are like, you see. So the world are like scrambling to buy Boeing planes, you see. So, but why does it sort of like not, why is it saying that nowadays, it's not as good anymore? There's a lot of few accidents happening, the air crash and all that, dealing with Boeing planes. And, when you find out that it's something to do with some of the parts inside there and all that kind of stuff. So it's not as good as anymore. It's losing that quality assurance that it has always been able to give to people. This is usually due to profit making. Like you've got stakeholders who wants to they don't care about quality. All they need to know is at the end of the year, my yearbook, my company book says that my company is making this amount of money. It is being registered on the NASDAQ, or it's being registered in the Malaysian stock market. It's registered in the Shanghai stock market or whatever. I'm making money. So it is important to make money. So they don't care. The new management don't care. And this is the time that you can see that quality will drop. So again, it brings us back to that final critical success factor when it comes to managing quality, and whether the product will be quality product or not is usually the last bit there. The attitude, the discipline, the determination, and then the commitment and the willpower towards quality. Everything else is on paper. Everything else we can use money to settle. But when it comes to the last bit here, character of the team looking after the project, that will be the critical success factor. So whether you can do it or not, people is a very important factor. And this is something that this is something that is from my year of experience with quality management, I think this is something that is challenging. It's very challenging. If you have good people, you can do it. If you don't have good people, you can't do it. This is as simple as that. You can have all sorts of planning, all sorts of wonderful data collection devices, machineries, everything. If nobody use it, if nobody do it, that's it. It's gone. Okay. So when these are all your readings, I won't want to go into too much here. Okay. Yeah. So when Deming and Duran, these people, they are actually more into people management. You see, they started to see that people management, leadership, drive out fears, breakdown between staff, breakdown barriers between staff, and this dependency on inspection to achieve quality. So this sort of things is not like a punishment anymore, it's like, oh, this is fair, so I kick it out, or therefore whoever is in charge get into trouble. We do not want that kind of mentality. So the main Duran, these people, they are into people management, and then how to make it a program that can improve on people's attitude. The floor people, they must want to do it themselves, and that will make the management a lot easier because the people wants to do it. You see, it's just like if I own a cleaning service agency, imagine now I own a cleaning service agency, and my job today, my project today is to clean a building that is given to me, to my company. You know, I'm the manager here. I'm committed to quality. I will list down what are the quality requirements. I must clean the floor to what standards, you know, and I have devices to check whether the floor is smooth or clean, the window is clean, you know, every single thing is sparkling, for example. That is my quality requirement as a manager of this company. This is what I promise to my client as well. This is a slogan I give to my client, you know, not clean, money back guarantee, all sort of things, you know, just an example. But in the end, am I the one going to go down and do the job? You know, that's one thing. Am I going to be taking the broom and vacuum cleaner and, you know, the mop and mop the floor? You know, I'm not, you see. So I need to depend on a lot of workers to do it. If my workers are not trained, okay, number one, if they're not trained with cleaning, then Miss A and Miss B and Mr. C and Mr. D, they're all going to do it differently based on whatever their mom teach them when they were young, correct or not? You know, this is the way I take my broom. This is the way that I use my mop. There's no fix. So when this Mr. A, Mr. B, Miss C, Miss D all came in together and they start to clean everybody clean one section. You realize that every section is different later on. There's no uniformity in terms of the cleaning. Okay, that's one thing. And then if you don't train them, that's one thing. And then, of course, if you don't have standardized equipment, that is another issue. You know, one use broom, one use vacuum cleaner, one use the feather duster. So how can it be the same? Okay. And if vacuum cleaner, one get a really good one, the other one get a not so good one, you need to have standardized equipment as well. And all these things it can be done. And of course, the material, you know, the detergent, the water, you know, the formulation of the detergent, the clothes that you use, okay? All this we can standardize, okay? But people is hard to standardize. I can standardize training. I can say that before I send all my staff out to my cleaning HR, to clean the offices, I train them 3 months. How to use the broom, how to use the vacuum cleaner, how to use the clothes, how to pour the detergent to mix and all that. I can train them, okay? But in the end, when I send them there, whether I'm successful or not, it very much dependent on their attitude. 2 portions, their attitude. One attitude is how much good mentality they have, okay? If they understand that my boss direction, our company direction is to provide this wonderful service to people, they also believe in it, then they can work with you. Okay, they can work with you. Okay, they will work with you. And they must know the importance of their job. They must know I am so important that if I don't do the job well, I will create a problem for the company. Okay, and they must also feel proud of their work. Okay, feel proud of their work, be serious about their work, be able to carry out their work properly according to the formulation given, according to the training given. That is that bit, the worker's mentality portion. What about from me as a manager? I must be disciplined. I must be able to check. I have to have a way to check. I have to have the discipline to bring them back and say, you need to redo this. And if not good, you need to redo this until we meet that standard. They may not be happy with you. And most of us, when dealing with people to people, we tend to get this feeling of, you get so tired because they just don't listen to you. And then in the end, you give up. You say, oh, it's okay, like forget about it. I am just so tired talking to them. They just don't get it, you see. So middle management don't have that determination, that willpower. And that is an issue, okay? Another bit that ties in with the upper management is the leadership. If your companies don't focus on that, no matter what you do, they don't care. Okay, so you lost that will, you lost that discipline, you lost that determination as a middle management. Project manager are all middle management people. Okay, they are all the people who are actually there to carry out the job. to see the job being done. Okay, so these are people, all very important people. So the willpower, the attitude of these two layers are very important. Of course, leadership, determination, and the commitment from the leadership, from the top management is also equally important. Okay, but without, why didn't I mention that so strictly? Because even if you have all the commitment in the world and you can pour pumping all the money in the world, but in the end, your middle management and your workers are not working together, all you have to do is just talk on it and you can't get anything done, you see, right? So that will be how we look at quality management in the sense, in terms of project management. And then, like I said, Durand focuses on, Deming focuses on people, a lot of people, and Durand has a Durand trilogy, where we talk about this quality planning, control, and improvement. This Durand trilogy is the birth of quality management, honestly. Okay, and how they mention that, you know, quality needs to be planned, and then it needs to go into checking so that the improvement can be continuous, and you must have lesson learned, because cost of quality are expensive. You know, we have features on cost of quality, and if you don't do it, there's a cost. If you do it, there's a cost. So you need to be able to understand the cost and benefit that it brings, you see, when you do it and not do it. Okay, Ishikawa, of course, we always remember him for the diagram, the fishbone diagram. Okay, it's about finding out on root causes. Okay, trend, cause and effect lah, basically lah. Huh? Crosby, okay, Crosby is another guru here. Okay, and yeah, management must be committed to quality. That is what Crosby is saying. Crosby ties in quite closely with the Ming, create quality improvement. They're talking about quality management, basically, the management of quality. Measure processes, calculate the cost of quality, raise awareness, take action. Okay, there's 14 points that is done by Crosby. So I think you can read through that. It's not an issue. I'm pretty sure a lot of you do know about this already. Okay. And yeah, I mean, like, what we have here is yeah, we also talk about quality, cost of quality, cost of quality, meaning that you have, if you don't do it, you have failures, you know, and then after that, if you do it, you know, you'll be spending money on it, you'll be spending time and effort on it, you'll be buying, you know, you need to calibrate your machines, you need to spend on it, you see. So there are different type of costs involved when it comes to cost of quality. So first of all, you have prevention costs. So here, the upper bit, I'm going to kind of like skip through, because we're talking about from quality control to statistical process control, and then to managing quality management as a process, and then bringing in the idea of TQM, and then of course then start to bring in things like ISO. So these are some of the history of quality in that sense now. Yeah, so I won't want to go too much into that. Is it okay? Yeah, I think should be okay lah. Huh? It's not a history test lah, but just want you to know the difference between each era, so that you actually get a feel where we have moved on in terms of quality. So in terms of cost of quality, we have prevention costs. This is the part that, you know, you spend a lot of money into planning, equipment, training. This will help to prevent. Okay, or you can just do appraisal costs. Don't do any planning, but when the problem comes, you go and appraise it. There's going to be a lot of internal audit and all that. And then when you do it, when you completely don't do anything at all, you probably have internal failure costs, which is like rectification, re-inspection, downgrading, failure analysis, external costs like repair, returns, loss of goodwill, loss of reputation from your company. So these are all different costs. So it's a matter of you do it, not do it. And then when you do it, you do have a lot of costs involved as well. Like saying to calibrate equipment, you need to buy new devices to do the checking. You need to create own management framework. You need to have a team of people looking after the project and looking after the planning, doing the planning and all that. So it's money. You have a QM, you have a quality management section in your company, and you engage engineers and supervisor, quality officer, QC officers and all that. Those are like maybe hundreds of thousands every month, you see. So then 1 year it boils down to millions, and then they're looking after the quality control and all that, or creating quality plans and all that. So these are expensive, you see. So but then but if you don't do it in the long run, you do have other issues as well, you see. You have maybe the things are consistently breaking down. There is a lot of appraisal costs, there's a lot of repair costs involved, and you have to see how much they add up to be, so maybe it is actually worth it to have the initial cost, but in the long run it will work out to be better, cheaper. So you need to measure it, you need to determine it, okay? But of course, no matter what, we need to do it. It's a matter of how deep we are doing it, how much effort we are putting on it. It's depending on what you are building, what you are carrying out, actually. Yeah. Cost of non-conformance, okay. All right. Okay, I think this bit here is all about construction. Now, I also have a specific notes here on construction, especially for people who are from the construction industry. So the cost of quality in construction industry. So yeah, it's about problems associated, with completion if you don't do it well, cost of failures, and yeah, and then a lot of contractual issues also will come in, especially with construction, that you need to take note of, and whether you're going to give the client a better value product or not, depending on the level of QM that you're doing, quality management that you're doing, okay? So now we are moving into the idea of quality management. So up until now, I think we all understand that quality don't just happen by itself. It's not like you sit here, and then we talk about it and it happens. It's not like that. True or not? Yeah. Are you guys still okay? I mean, like, I'm so quiet. I feel like I'm talking to the wall, to my computer. You guys understand what we're trying to say? Is there anything that you want to share with us, especially, I mean, from what I said just now up until now? Anything you all want to just have a chit chat with? Let's have some interaction now. No? Okay, you're fine. Yeah, I mean, like, people from, do you think that, in your industry, how difficult is your quality management? So we understand quality. You understand the definition of quality in your industry, that's for sure. Okay. And you need to understand, yeah, important to have, sorry, I want to read this. So it's important to have reliable QA, QC in our company. Yeah. Okay. So I think in that sense, you need to understand the importance of, number one, the importance of doing quality work, okay? And because quality work, quality on all the activities will contribute to the, with the resources that you specify, and the quality of resources will contribute to all the activities, you see? And when the activities are actually, the scope of work is actually carried out with that level of desired quality, you will see that the subcomponents of the work will become what you desire it to be. And then finally, when you put all the components together, you will have an output of the product that is good quality. And we understand it's important to do quality because under the cost of quality, if you don't do it, there is a lot of cost attached to it. It could be heavily attached to emergency management. You know, when problems come out, you have meetings, you know, you go to the site and then you go to the factory floor to check, and many time and money can be wasted in terms of finding out the problems. And then you also have product that goes up that escape sampling and is passed, and then it went out and it has a lot of problem. And that's why you see a lot of company, a lot of time they call back their product. It could be food, it could be cars, it could be anything, because suddenly they find it is actually unsafe for people to use. And that, in a way, for product, it can be very, very hurting. It can hurt the organization reputation. And many organizations can go bankrupt over incidences like this, because straight away in the market, nobody buy their product. Suddenly, you know, it's like completely gone. People are like shooting down on the product. It is all over in the newspaper, in the social media, that this product is poisonous, or this product is having some issues, or it didn't pass the test of the food association, you know, and immediately your product can be a big issue. Okay, for construction product, maybe you only need to have 1 or 2 failures. You know, it's like the concrete comes in, it doesn't fulfill the standards, it get rejected all the time. You may not go bankrupt immediately, but slowly you lost your market share. People are not having confidence with you. Like me as a contractor, if I buy from if I buy concrete from a plant, I mean from this ready-mix concrete plant, you know, I have a lot of choices. When I have a lot of choices, if the batches that you bring me always cannot, my sample trial tests are always fail one, obviously I will be stopping to get out. I will stop getting it from you soon, you see. I mean, like, I don't want to have issues like that, you know. And for construction, maybe our effect will come in a lot later, such as my piles. I go down, I hit my piles, and then it sort of like deviates, you know, 500 mm, there 500 mm, there 500 mm. You think it's fine, but then one fine day, your wall starts to crack, you know, because the foundation started to sengek, you know, it started to slant because of the problems dealing with the deviation that you didn't cater for it. You forgot about it, you know. After a while, you stop thinking about it, and then that's it. You pass the whole project. You know, the road starts to sink at certain places. The drain starts to crack. You know, cracking and all this is still not so much of a big issue. They are just aesthetic issues. Some of them are just durability issues. You know, but what if suddenly your bridge collapse? You see, what if suddenly the retaining wall overturn and you have a huge soil erosion that go all the way down and, you know, block the road and destroy the road and kill people and all that? So you see, quality, some of these issues can be very short term. Immediately you can see, but some of this is long term. You only start to see after a few years. And then these sort of problems, some of them can be very sudden. Pump, the bridge came down. You know, we have many issues like this. The submarine pipe float away. Everyone fine day, it just float away. And then the ship that comes through run into it, and then the whole boat, not ship lah, boat lah, overturn and kills 20 people, that sort of thing. You know, when you deal with life and death, in the end, is really terrible in that sense. So we really don't want to come to that kind of extent. Then we realize that quality, to do a quality work product is important. So we have to establish that no matter what, for us as engineer, quality is a major part of our life. We cannot not deal with it. okay, because the consequences can be such a heavy price to pay. And therefore, we have to take very serious notice of quality of work, which will contribute to the quality, which is contributed by the quality of resources, such as material, machinery, workmanship, okay, of people, labor, and subcontractors. Then it will contribute all the work, the proper work, how you do the work with the good resources will contribute to the different components of the product, and the different components will finally be the product that we desire the quality to be. So the first and foremost is you must have an objective. You must think of it as an important thing that you need to achieve. If it is not part of your mission, is not part of your vision, is not part of your project goals, then it will never be there. So first and foremost, you need to put it as your project goals, that you need to deliver a product with a desired level of quality. And how to have that desired level of quality? In fact, we need to first and foremost understand the client's requirement. And that is something very lacking from us as the designer or the people who are building or the people who are providing the service. Okay, so in the first place, when you understand that quality is an important features of all your project, you need to acknowledge that. You need to get on with it. That means you need to spend time and money and effort on quality management. Quality needs to be managed. It doesn't happen by itself. It's not that you want it, the client want it, and it will happen by itself. What do we mean by quality management? This is what we're coming to next. Okay. And this bit of the lecture 1.5 is about some of quality management styles that we have or method that we have. First, it is inspection. Then we go into the quality control era, whereby we want to make this is statistical control and all that. And then we also have trying to find out on the root causes, and then we go into total quality control era. So we will start at the quality control era for quite a while, okay, and then we move into the total quality management era, okay, and whereby this is bringing in people. Not only this is a time that we talk about quality is not only just the processes, it's also about people. It's about managing the people, dealing with it and all that. And then, yeah, up until now, at this point in time, it has always been the combination of processes and people. Okay, so this part here, we finish with the introduction, not to say introduction, the context of quality. And main thing is I want to move on to quality management for quality management, the idea of quality management. So quality management, like I said, we need to have, from the first, we need to know the context of quality for project is you need to have it. You need to focus on it. You need to do it. It has to be there. So you cannot escape it. So I hope that we establish that bit there. It's something that we have to embark onto, whether you like it or not, whether it's difficult or not, whether it's time consuming or not, whether it's no use or not, whether it's useful or not useful or not, it doesn't matter. You have to do it. Okay. So we've established that. And then we need to also establish that now we acknowledge that quality is an essential part of any project or any product. And it is expensive to do quality, because if you don't do it, there is things that can happen that causes you to pay a lot after that. It can be paid with money, it can be paid with life, it can be paid with reputation. If you do it like what Amira is saying just now, QA/QC team, you have people, you need to engage people doing it. You need to have specialized officers doing it. You need to have your engineers being able to have knowledge with it. You need to send your workers for training. They are all money. You see, they're all money. You need to educate your people. You know, your team needs to be disciplined. So again, this bit is a part of cost of quality. This is what we call prevention cost. You get the management, you force the management, you make sure that management is done. Management on quality is done. So what is quality management? Quality management is all the processes and practices of overseeing all the activities and tasks, you know, of a project within the scope of work, you know, is carried out according to a certain desired level of quality that is actually specified, put in, you know, that is aimed at, that is a goal, okay, of every component, the task, okay, and then bringing it into the final product. Ultimately, it's the final product and facilities that is complete to the desired level of excellency. The key word here is the desired level of excellency. And I would like to spend time on this. What is desired level of excellency? Desired level of excellency, the word is desire. Excellency is quality. Okay? Quality, what is your definition of quality for your project? Because if you don't have that, you are not going to be able to do quality management. All this in the front here, no use one, if you don't know what is this. Okay? And desired level of quality is relative. It's relative to something. If your company, as a developer, as a client, you want to deliver certain product that can sell for a high price, so we call it high quality product. So what do you mean by high quality product? Because quality is relative, it's relative to the person needing it, relative to the people using it, relative to the client who wants it and demand for it, and it's relative to people, the client who actually specify for it or call for the project. So it's important to know your audience. That is one thing. Know your end user, the people using it. You have to understand your client's perspective. So in this case, total quality management for project, it starts off with the meeting of minds. You need to meet the minds of the end user. You need to meet the mind of the client because they is relative to them. That desire is relative to them. So if you do not understand what the client needs, what they want, what is their requirement, what is their definition of quality, then it is not going to work at all. It's ultimately they have to say you fulfill the quality, not you yourself say or your paperwork says that you have fulfilled the quality. Okay, it's not about paperwork. Okay, part of the processes is doing the paperwork. Part of the practices is doing all this paperwork, you know, checking work, planning work. Yes, but what is that quality that is desired? So we can use, you need to define what you want first of the product itself. What can the product do? What sort of level are you putting in for your product? Is it level 1, level 2, level 3? Are you going to do a product that is conforming to level 2 standards, meaning that conforming to authority standards? Or are you going to do a long durability product standard? Or are you going to do a high performance? Or are you going to do a level 6 or level 7 aesthetic? You got to be clear first, okay? And how do you be clear? You need to talk to the end user. End user are the people who will use your product at the end of the day, what they are looking for. Then the client, what is the client looking for? There are a lot of circumstances where the paymaster and the end user are two different group of people. It's just that UNIMAS is being paid, built by the Ministry of Higher Education, but the end user is me, you. I didn't pay to build UNIMAS. You didn't pay to build UNIMAS, but you are the end user. So are you comfortably sitting there in the classrooms? Is it safe to use all the labs? You know, is the road good to drive on? Is the system really, the network inside UNIMAS good? All these are desired level of excellence. So you need to know what the end user wants in some cases, in some project. It's also important to know what the client, the paymasters want. Just like if I'm a developer of house, of residential units, I will do market survey to see what my audiences want, what my market want. But of course, the developer, you need to understand their perspective. The audience, the people, the end user, of course, they want value. Is it? I want to buy it cheap, but I want it good too. If the developer cannot spend money on it, then too bad. You only have that desired level of excellence. It can be just durable. There is no aesthetic, no up to level 7. There's no high performance or high serviceability. Okay, because the different level is also tied in with different costs, you see. I cannot say that I want to paint my house with all gold color paint and then not pay for it. It's not possible. Quality and cost are tying together. Quality and time are tying together. Let's be practical about it. The desired level we need as engineers, as consultants, as people who are going to be working closely with the client, meeting the minds of the client, doing whatever they want is important. But also, you as a professional, you need to be able to advise them on what is not possible. Don't give them false hope. Don't say everything is yes. Don't say kita boleh. Not every day is boleh, Not everything is boleh. Boleh needs money. Huh? If your client wants a house that a Sultan of Brunei can afford only, then how? He needs to pay for it. Or we cannot build a palace when you only have the money for a detached house. Yeah. So we must professionally advise. That is our job. Same goes with production. The client can say, I want this, I want it, the more the merrier. Who doesn't want? It's like, if I can, I will tell you that I want everything. But you as a professional engineer say that you need to break down the cost. You need to tell them that, this level is this much, this level is this much, this level is this much. Everything has a price tag to it. It's just like I can buy a shirt, for 50 ringgit, but if you walk into Gucci, the same shirt will probably sell for 5,000, you see. Again, you need to be able, but that one is paying for the brand, it's a different thing. It's probably the same shirt, but it's two different things. But if you want to feel good about it, you want that perceived value of level 8 of wearing a Gucci shirt, then it's perceived value. Mine is a fit for its intended purpose. Isn't it? Level 1. No obvious defect. Tak ada lobang, there's no hole on my shirt. This is good enough. Okay. There is a balance to meet. So, but the first thing is spend time. Spend time with your audience, spend time with your end users, spend time with your clients, spend time with your stakeholders. You have to understand what they want, because in the end, time, cost, quality, time, if you do it within the period specified, tick, you get 1 box. Within the cost, tick, you get 1 box. Quality, if they say that this is not what I want, then you get a cross in that box. Why? Because it's relative to them. So you've got to meet the minds of the client and sit down. It's a to and fro thing. It's a two-way traffic thing. It is not just they say you absorb and then you cannot do, also you keep quiet. Okay, and then we put together a project that is within the budget from the client with that level of excellence that is required from them. So you promise them, with this money, I will give you level 3. So they know, okay, level 3, I cannot have level 8. So then we move in together and we start our design. Okay, to develop the design, the features, the different components, the activities, the scope of work. So we went through that. Some of you who sat through the project management class with me for the past 2 weeks, we have been talking about scope management, and then how to come up with the scope of work. So this scope of work that is also tied in together with the quality aspects, you see. So whatever steps that you do, whatever components, whatever activities that you do will contribute to the components, and components will be contributing to the product. That is product or facilities. For a civil engineer, it could be the bridge is the product, the components is the piles, the column, the rope, the box girdle, the foundation. So those are components, and the activities that goes into every component is your work. So how do you make sure that this work with the resources together? Work, resources, work is work, resources is resources. Resources is like things like material, labor, equipment, workmanship, all these are resources, okay? And the resources are tied in together with the work. So together, these processes of doing quality work with the quality resources is going to be the processes that we'll be managing that goes according to that level of excellence. So you set that product excellence, then the components excellence, and then your work excellences and your resources excellences. You have to know the level, okay? Level of desire, excellence. Level of quality. And that is the first features in quality management. Okay? So quality management will say that you need to understand quality, establish the objective and the philosophy, and then balance it with time, cost, quality, to have a quality planning and to have organization backups to support your quality effort, quality management effort, okay? And traditionally, we don't want it to be too qualitative, as much as possible quantitative. I cannot be more emphasizing on this. We do not want quality management to be, you don't say that I'm doing quality management while we're only doing quality inspection and checking. We do not want, quality management is not supposed to be reactive. It's supposed to be very, very active. It's supposed to be going out there, very proactive, planning, finding out what the client wants, looking into the steps, and understanding the features of work and all that. And you must be very proactive. It's not a reactive thing. It's not like when it happens, then you send people to check, and then when you check, come out not good, then you do something about it to rectify. These are not quality management. And the construction industry does that a lot, unfortunately. Manufacturing, in the old days, you do a lot of inspections, QC, but not anymore also. You also emphasize on management, meaning that coming up with the whole entire process to do it, and then doing it, and then coming up with the rectification actions, and then also finally to even look into the root causes of problems. And this is what the whole pictures of quality management is all about. It's just not the end bit of QC, okay? You need to do QP, QA, QC, okay? And so more modern quality management, these are the questions that we have been trying to answer, trying to get you to answer just now. So what is modern QM? Modern QM is, what is quality? See? Level, what is the level? What is quality? What is the definition of quality? Get the meetings of minds of the client, highlight this, what is quality, and then what is the level of quality that is achievable. What can you see, I didn't say that what is the level of quality that the client wants to achieve, is the level of quality achievable, meaning that there are conditions there which is dealing with cost, okay? And what is the level of quality appropriate, and who determines what is the appropriate level? Is between the meetings of mind, is the agreement between the client and the designer, or the builder and the builder. Who is responsible? And when does QM starts and when does it finish? Okay. These are the questions that you have to answer if you're doing QM, quality management. And the most important features here, if we say that we want to do quality management, we want to manage our quality, you get it started by meeting the minds of the client. Then the next thing is you need to create a system. A quality management features, project quality management, you are looking to create a system, and that system is a formalized way of managing quality. It involves all the documentation processes, procedures, responsibilities for achieving the quality policies and objectives. This is what quality management will be. You cannot say that, yes, I want quality. You see, beginning of the lecture, we tell you that you need to have quality. So you tell me now, yes, doctor, I want quality in my product, okay? Because you cannot escape it. And then I tell you that, okay, now that you know that you need quality, so you need to carry out quality management, or what we call project quality management. So you also know, okay, now I want to carry out project quality management, and I need to think about, first and foremost, my quality objectives, my client's requirement, my end users' demand and ideas, and what is allowed, what is not allowed. Okay, it's all there. Okay, so you set it up now. You set it up. All the thing is set up already in the beginning. So quality management, the features, the initial features, you are doing it. Now we need a system to do it. Okay, you must want to do it first. That's number one. Number two, you must understand what is there to be achieved. Okay, and then this bit is about how to do it. In order to carry out quality management, first you meet the mind, the desired level of excellence is there. Then we go back to the initial definition of practices, processes. This is the bit that we talk about QMS. You must have a system. Okay. You understand now? You guys get the idea? I'm going really slow because I want you all to appreciate, as we move into designing a quality management systems for your project, these are the things that we do not want to overlook. First, you must need it, you must want it, quality. Number two, you must have that desired level of excellence. You must manage quality. The first step is understand the desired level of excellence. And number two, once you understand the desired level of excellence, you are looking into doing a system to carry it out. Everyone okay?
Okay, doctor.
Yeah. Any questions from you all? Yeah. I hope I'm clear. I mean, like, the flow of it, and also the focus and everything that I'm bringing you guys to the right focus. Yeah. Okay. You're okay for now, huh? Okay, right, good. Thank you. Thank you for your response. So that I know that on the opposite end of that black screen is not only your name, but you are still there, okay? We will try to finish early. I mean, I won't want to use up 3 hours. We will finish early and then we'll go off early. So I'm not going to have a break. Okay, I will try to finish up in about half an hour. Then you all can just go off, and then we will go back and listen to the recording later on. Okay, let's continue. So the QMS systems is actually a formalized system that documents the processes, procedures, and responsibility. So it's a collective of processes focusing to achieve quality objective and quality policies. And you may feel like, wow, you know, processes are what sounds like a big thing, you know, sounds like a lot of things going on, you know, start to think about how many processes are there, you know. Well, actually, processes are not that much lah, huh? I mean, like you see, I'm giving you a few definition. They are all about the same. It's all about, you know, collection of policy, processes, documentation, and records, you know, to define. You create these particular systems to deliver the work, the activities, okay? Deliver it with good quality, desired excellence. So these steps, these processes are actually applicable again and again. You know, it's the same thing. Round and round is the same thing, okay? And we must remember that quality is a process. It is not a final product. It takes that long process to go through. So QM is an input to processes. It's not an attribute of the product output. It's not about, I want it to be like this, and this is QM. My QM is the output. No, the QM is the steps, the way, the processes of carrying out planning, QA, QP, QA, QC. The steps there is the same. The processes is the same. But when you apply QP, QA, QC to different activities, to different works, to the resources, you need to put it together so that the final product is going to be at the level desired, you know, the desired level of quality that is required, or designed, or specified, or put together. So there is two aspects, you know, it's all about the project processes and the product, final product. There's two bits here. You need to separate them. Don't think of final product yet. Why? Because if you start to features on final product, you will have a very big tendency to do inspection, QC only, and forget about the rest. That needs to be done in the first place. Okay, you need to feature, don't feature on the product first, feature on the project processes first. The processes that contribute to the processes of doing the work, the processes of buying the equipment, the processes of delivering the material, the processes of buying the material, procurement, then the processes of looking into the testing, the processes of designing the experiment. All these things is part of project processes. So different activities will have different sub-activities, different processes that are required to be completed for you to have a complete product. And within that different processes, the different activities, you are running through the various processes, such as work processes, okay, such as material purchase, procurement, and processes, such as machinery selection, such as calibration of machineries, devices, such as training skills for the labor, the work processes, the work method statement for the laborer, or for the workman to follow. So these are the processes that you need to design for. These are the processes that you need to design for your works, okay, for your work activities, for all your activities. But they all are almost featuring the same thing. You need to design for the steps, which is the work processes. You need to design for the selection of the resources. You need to design for the purchase. And then what is supposed to be the certifications, you know, and what is supposed to be the required documentation, the documentation processes of all your work and also your resources determination. And then labor, very out of resources, labor, I take it out specifically because labor requires two components, which is the working component and also the training component, the skills component, and the actual doing the work component. The doing work of component, if there is some specific steps or process that they must do to carry out the work, then it must be listed and it must be communicated to them. Their skills is what they have, they bring onto the project, such as, joining skills, man-laying skills, carpentry skills, those are skills that they bring onto the project. And you need to specify that skills and whether you need them to be certified, by certain organization, whether you need them to be trained by certain people, or whether they need to be sent for training and all that. So the different processes that combine together, you will see that, if it's well done, and it will create a good final work from that. The work will create a subcomponent, and the subcomponent will be combined together to become the component, and the different component will combine together to become the final product. So that's why I say don't worry about the main product features yet. But design, of course, you have to go by the main product features, but the designing of these processes, the carrying it out is from the bottom up. So you don't want to look at the topic. You want to focus, once you've already know the topic, and then you flow it down to the work processes already, or the processes underneath the QM processes, then that's it. You work on these processes in these activities, then it will contribute back naturally. And that is what we are wanting to believe. We want to believe, QA wanted to believe that quality assurance is saying that if you plan your work properly, you plan your quality management processes properly, you plan to check, you plan to monitor, you plan to find out, and then you actually do the auditing, the checking, the monitoring, your product will be good quality. That is the idea of quality assurance. Okay. So it is concentrating on the processes, not the final product. Because you have to say that the final product comes naturally. One very simple example that I can give you is, say, I have my daughter, I teach my children, I say I teach them well. It's the same concept. I teach my students when they're young, I make sure that, they have good manners, they get punished if they, first I want to have a child, a human being that will contribute to a society and not create problems in the world. This is my aim, my objective, my desired level of excellence. I want to have children that are good looking, and they are good manner and they have good attitude. Okay, so this is my level of excellence. I've created that. Then as the processes of each part, meaning that, at different stages of their life, I need to have different processes, correct? Now, from young, I need to feed them well. I need to make sure that they drink well, they eat well, so that they have a good body, they can grow up to 180 cm or 170 cm to have a nice, good looking, thing, but of course, some of it is my DNA, my husband's DNA, not good looking is not good looking, cannot do anything, but then generally, I can make sure that, they eat well, they go exercise, and all that. And then when they start to have education, we have a plan here to actually make sure that they learn well, they are well-rounded, we don't simply scold them, like, I'm just giving you an example. Like, it's not that I'm doing all this, okay? I mean, like, sometimes you have too many children, also you cannot control so many things. So yeah, I mean, like, this is what we're saying. So then each and these pieces, that if we believe that we have done a good job, if we believe that we have done a good job, we've already tried our best to go through all these processes. It's like maybe first-time parents, you have a checklist, whole checklist, like what to do. But hopefully, we have to believe that whatever that comes out will be good. With human being, it's a little bit difficult, but with product, you should be able to believe it even more, that if you have gone through the processes, the steps of doing it properly, and you have not failed to do it consistently, then you have to believe that the end product that comes out, because you have been strictly, rigorously following through the necessary steps and processes and practices, your end product will be good. A bridge will turn out to be a good bridge, you know, to that level of excellence that is required. House that you build is up to that desired level of excellence, because you understand that every stage of the activities, we are following very closely what we set up to do for that activity. What do we mean? You know, like, let's give you an example. If I will do a bridge that is certain level of quality, meaning that it's conforming, it's high performance or whatever quality, I mean level of quality, I've set it. Then from there, all my features of doing piling work, for example, I will make sure that my resources will have to be certain feature that will fulfill that high performance. So meaning that I will have to buy piles that are, or create piles that has to be done in certain sizes, certain strength, and certain steel, you know, steel cage and all that. I will make sure that, you know, I have listed it all down, you know, and then when my workers do the job, they follow the processes of bore you know, boring or micro piles, you know, they strictly follow the method, and the equipment that is used also has been calibrated properly. So when we do this work and then we follow this, and then the inspections are being done consistently, the testing, for example, if one concrete are being poured, and we need to test sample, we need to do slump test, and we rigorously do that. And then if it's fulfilling that particular standard that we set up to be, certain BS standard scar or high strength standard, for example, like let's say if you need 30 strength, yours is 50 already, is a lot higher strength than what you originally set up to be. So we understand that the piling work is so well done that it should be, the foundation is good. You see, when the foundation is good, then the second component, when you're doing the bridge girder or you're doing the rope work or you're doing the column of the bridges, you also have certain level of desired excellence, and then all your activities will follow that desired level of excellence. All your testing work, all your checking work will also be at, you know, designed in such a way that will detect any problem. Then you will know that when it's a okay pass, all these components are good. So then naturally your bridge will reach that level of excellence. You get what I mean? So these are like a circle, you know, it's like a circle thing. Or if we say that it could be bottom up and top down, bottom up, you know, top down is the features, come down is the bottom bit, whereby all the activities need to be syncing together to that level of excellence that you set out for the product itself in the first place. And QMS are saying to us that QMS is saying to us that, QMS is saying to you that this is the features that we're looking at, product quality management. These are the processes that we must be looking into. You must have quality planning, you must have quality assurance, and you must have quality control. And these three features, each one of them, it must play a part in your QMS, your quality management system. Okay, so when you design a quality management system, you will need to plan for your quality. You need to plan, you need to do quality assurance. And when I say this QP, QA, QC, I am not talking about it like, oh, you must have QA, QP, QC. Oh, you must have QA, QP, QC. No rubbish like that. This is very specific QP, QA, QC for each of the features of each of the work that needs to be done. So you apply QP, QA, QC. You must put in for quality planning. You must understand the activity's objective. What is the objective of that particular activity? What is the reason you need to do this? And what is the purpose of setting that quality requirement? You see, a lot of us don't understand when the designers say that, oh, we must do this within this. strength must be 30, must be 35 megapascal. Why? We don't understand. So therefore, when the workers, when the people carrying out the work, they say, 30, 35, if I make it 32, can or not? If mine is 32, you boleh ka? Can ka? So you ask questions like that. Is it a little bit off only leh? Why cannot leh? So that is the attitude that we have, because we don't understand what that 35 megapascals means. You see, we do not understand why the designer wanted it to be 35 megapascal. We do not understand why it must be carrying 50 tons of load. Okay, so that quality objective, if that is your level desire of meeting the basic level of quality, you must specify it. You must try to understand, what is the reason behind that specification, or that. Of course, the reason why sometimes a lot of us don't understand the specification is because specification in construction, especially, they are not tailor-made. There are so much copy and paste to a point that we kind of like not read them, because we know that it's just the same good old story, and same good old story that any 16, 17 or even 15-year-old can do, because they know how to use Microsoft Words to copy and paste, you see. So it is not useful to look at specification, but it is important to understand what is the. That's why to use the word specification is, I have to be very careful, because specification, like I said, has become such an old story now. So it's more important to look at the project quality objective, and that project quality, or maybe it's called project activity, or project component or subcomponents objective, and the level of excellence required. If that level of excellence is 35 megapascal, which is the designer standard, or the features that are designed by the designer, or is the standard that is designed that is put down by the BS code, Euro code, what is the reason behind that? Is it so? Get that understand first, the quality objective done first, and then you will do your manual. You will do your quality manual, and this quality manual, we like to call it PQP, Project Quality Plan, or some industry will call it QMP, Project Management Plan. Quality Management Plan. PQP is used by the construction, Project Quality Plan, and inside there, don't just write like, the word method statement. It is not good to do that. Many of us like to, as consultant, you know what you do? You ask the contractor to write your PQP. It's like, how crazy is that? You see, so that is a practice, and if I'm the contractor, I wouldn't want to bother to write a very good PQP. Why? Because the more I write, the things that I write, the more I commit, isn't it? So I just write a very brief one, then I have more room to move, isn't it? I'm not committing to so many things, isn't it? Yeah. So what you need to do is, you need to sit down and work down. Part of quality plan is work down a manual. You need to understand the standard required, okay? And also standard requirements, it could be the codes, could be the authority requirement and all that. And then you also need to understand the company policy, the quality policy of this particular project. You need to understand who the clients are, you see. Some clients, they are very particular, so you also have to be very careful with that. Give me a minute, I need to on my sockets. Yeah, so when you have your quality policy, the objectives, so then based on the objective of that particular activity, whether it's a the more quantitative, the better to me if you need to meet level 5, level 6, or you have a rubric that everything must be at least 4, then this is your quality objective, you see. And then you work out on your steps, on your steps of doing the work to meet this quality objective. And when we have the steps, within the steps, is there any whole point or checkpoint? if there's any whole point, like if delivery of the material is a checkpoint, that means when the material comes, you have to have some checking. And this checking must involve what checklist and what testing, or what sending it to laboratory to test, independent laboratory to test. It has to be featured in all your manual, you see, your PQP. Okay, then from there, move on to the next step. And the fourth step, you need to have another whole point. Say, if there is a whole point there, you need to have a whole point. Whole point is checkpoint. This is the word that I use. I actually work with JKR on some of the, with one of the research project, and we kind of like created this this idea of the JKR people, together, we kind of create this idea of this whole point thing, and this whole point or holding point or checking point, and I think it's a very good terminologies that we are going to be featuring a lot in the future for our quality plan. We will see that coming to use a lot, yeah, because one of my students is actually from JKR. It's a features that is there. It's a good thing because he is actually a practicing engineer, and we're doing quality management research, you see, and then hopefully by the end of his research, we can widely use this word whole point or checkpoint. So maybe you don't see whole point or checkpoint in a lot of textbook or in a lot of material that you read with quality management, but I hope that it will be something that we have come up with. So I use that word a lot here, whole point, checkpoint. It's like you're holding back the product for now. You see, like you're holding back the work. Stop it first, hold it first, check it first, and then move on, open it up, out of quarantine, and then move it into the next stage. And this QP that we do, we create all this, and part of this QP will involve planning. You're also planning for the checking. You're also planning for your monitoring. You're also planning for your data collection. You see how you do it. What point, like which whole point are we looking at? QA is more on the whole point on checkpoints. You see, when all your whole point and checkpoints, you are featuring in where you're going to quarantine your work at the point, and to put it further for additional verification. It doesn't have to be testing. It can be just a visual inspection. It doesn't. It can be also as strict as a new experiment for something, or you have a specific experimental work going on for that particular features. It's okay, as long as you specify it down. So all this will actually be part of QA. QC is more on doing it. You monitor. You go to the site, you monitor, you collect your data. So for example, piling work, you collect your data. This is always done by more junior engineers or junior supervisors. So they will sort of do a lot of recording. And then from the recording, you will compile it into certain, you can compile it into certain features, like for example, Pareto diagram, control charts. So some of these are actually to check for the variances. Some of this data you use it for variances checking. Some of this data you need to collect because you want to see the root causes, the cause and effect of the problem. So of the quality issue. So if that thing happen, when you check and something happen, what is the next plan B? It looks like something like this. It can be a flow chart of some sort, or it can be a proper top-down sort of like a systems in this way also. So I've given you a few samples of how things can look like. Okay, especially I enjoy flow chart a lot because I think flow chart is a very good way of designing your quality manual. You see, you don't really have to explain a lot of things. This one is more on for the resources like material, like for material, for piling or concrete work, they want you to give product certificates and all that. So from there, this is the objective, and then when you submit in, what do you check for? You can put down what you check for and all that. So this is a samples lah. I'm explaining this very, very specifically in this afternoon's class, in this afternoon's pre-recording. You see, every single features of QP, QA, QC, I will explain it more in detail under each recording. So recording, I will put there quality planning recording 1 to 5, QA recording, quality assurance recording 1 to 3, QC recording 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 2, I think, because QC tools, it will be explained by Dr. Shelley a lot more. She will teach you how to do the mathematics of it. So for me, I'm only telling you that in terms of management, some of the tools you use are actually for variances detection. Some of the tools are actually for cause and effects. So you need to know which type of tools to use. And if you really don't have any tools at all to do, you can use rubrics. Design your own rubrics. Okay, checklist is like rubrics. Checklist is yes or no. You know, do you have hair? Yes, tick. Do you have eyes? Yes, tick. Do you have nose? Yes, tick. Yes. Do you have mouth? Tick. Do you have 2 eyes? Tick. Okay, so these are checklists. So checklist is like at the end of the day, you certify yes, got or not. You know, but whereby rubrics is you can have it like 1 means what, 0 means what, 1 means what, 2 means what, 3 means what, 4 means what, 5 means what, and then from there you can say okay, but try to not be too qualitative about rubrics. So normally we would say, you know, exceptionally good. What do you mean by exceptionally good? You must know what is exceptionally good. Good, you know, average. What is average? What do you mean by average? You know, so you must be able to answer that when you put it down in the rubrics. For this particular rubrics can be for every single features, every activities that you have. If you don't have any other numbers to collect, like because like for example, concrete slump test, you know, piling blows, these are very easy. You can actually see from the side and record it. But there are features that you cannot, they don't have specific measurement like this. So you need to do your own rubrics, and the rubrics hopefully you will surround it with measurement, like 1 to 2 times is 0, you know, 2 to 3 times, 2 to 5 times is number 1, you know. And if you can put some numbers to it, it makes your life a lot easier, put it this way. And these are under QC, basically. Yep. So quality management, these are our quality management systems. We will try to make it customer focused, leadership, involvement of people, processes, approach. And this part here, we are kind of telling you this. Let me see if I miss out on anything. Yeah, developing a effective quality management system. So effective quality management systems, you must have these 3 things. Okay, this is exactly what I've been explaining. So you must have QP, QA, QC. And this system, within this system, it must be able to cater for every component of your project. It's the same system, but the system is going to be tailor-made for every component, which means some of the major works of your project needs to be catered, or some of very important work need to be sub-work also, you need to cater for it as well. Okay, so QP, QA, QC, you are implementing it for your works, okay, and you can also implement it for the resources that you're bringing in, and then from there, works and resources flowchart combined, or work and resources system combined, it becomes a system for your QMS. This will be your QMS system. And the features that I'm trying to get at here is mainly, you do not think that you can use the same, I mean, QP, QA, QC is a fixed thing, but it differs from project to project. So you cannot just take, there is no such thing as there's a form. I have a lot of forms here available that you can fill in the form. You can just fill in your project name, you know, and your project dimension, you know, that there's no tools like that available at the moment, okay, for project quality management. So every project quality management system, the QMS, you have to design it yourself. Design it yourself, meaning that you need to do your quality manual yourself. You need to do your PQP yourself, and then follow through it and manage it, you see. So from project to project, like let's say, if it's a bridge and bridge project, you probably can use a similar one, but you still need to rectify, because the work breakdown structure may be different, the activities may be different, the requirement is different, the level of requirement by your client can also be different. And depending on where you're carrying out the work as well, is also different. Like construction, we can carry out our work in rural, we can carry out our work in urban area. So those are all different, you see. But QP, QA, QC, the concept doesn't change. Okay? If you're in IT, let's say, you could be working out a solution for banks. Your QP, QA, QC, your activities for their workflow is different as compared to if you're doing an IT for a supermarket, for example, an IT solution for a supermarket, for example, or a big departmental store, for example. Okay, if you're doing a security project, for a building compared to a security project for a road system, so they are all different, you see. So because of that, you need to cater specifically to the project. I hope you understand QMS, the QMS system. So the QMS systems will comprise of QP, QA, QC. You need to do it for every activities, major activities, I would say, and it's activities that are important and the resources attached with those activities. Then from there, the tools are what we do and all that. We will explain it. I've explained it a little bit just now, and this afternoon the recording will explain every single section of this in a lot more detail. So hopefully you can apply it to your project and design your own PQP or design your own QMS system, your own QMS or your own QMP, quality management plan or PQP, project quality plan, for example. Although they use the word plan, that plan itself must have QA, QC in it. Okay. Otherwise, it is not a complete. QMS is not complete where only you have a plan. Okay. You must have planning to check, how to monitor, how to find variances, how to check for the causes for the problem, and how to do rectification work. Rectification work is immediately you need to do. But in the long run, if you don't find out the causes of that and really get rid of those causes or uproot those causes, the problem will keep on repeating itself. It will be very repetitive. Then you will start to feel very tired because you do not get rid of the old problem. And then you start to lose your passion, lose your discipline, because how come it's always there? How come it's always there? Because how come we do so many things already, it's not working? How come I already checked so bad and it's not there? Because you didn't find the root. How come I'm always doing remedial work? But because you didn't look for the root causes of the problem. And that is what QA wants to tell us. You need to have whole point, checkpoint. You need to make sure that at certain features, at certain time, before you release that work out for quarantine or that product from quarantine, you need to make sure that not only you find the variances, but you need to find out what is wrong, what is actually wrong behind the recurrence of the certain problem again and again. So it does make quality management more interesting that way. But again, like what Amira was saying, you need your QA QC team. Why? This QA QC team are working on things like that. It is difficult for a project manager to be focusing on this. Honestly, it's very difficult because quality is not the only thing that you look after. You're also looking after the contract. You're also looking after procurement. You're also looking into time and schedule, and also costing, which the client are always very, very, it's actually very immediate, and it's actually something that everybody looks at, you see. So your focus are always on this sort of thing. So quality becomes something that is very secondary, because if there's no problem, you don't do it, you don't think about it. If there's problem, we solve it. So it becomes emergency management, ad hoc management, and it doesn't really work that way in the long run, in a way. Okay, so I think this is what we need to really look into for to create a new system, to create a system. do not buy too much into ISO, you know, all these things. These are all quality management features, okay? I mean, these are all quality management product actually. ISO is just basically a way of documentation for your project. And then they will tell you to do QP, QA, QC as well, as much as what I'm telling you now. And of course, they may have certain ways of doing it, okay, that you can look into. And they also do auditing and helping you to making you realize that you must do auditing so that you can find out what are the root causes of the problem. But to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and to be stuck with it for so many years, it is expensive. You can create your own practical QMS system. You don't have to buy systems, you know. You don't have to buy this European system SCA. You don't have to buy ISO, because they are not very technical. They didn't actually tell you what to do. They just give you an overview of how to do documentation and how to keep your paperwork, to keep evidences and all that. And of course, they will give you some theory of quality planning assurance, which pretty much what we are giving you already anyway. So because people think that having that particular stickers on it or that particular certification is going to make your product better. It will not actually. Especially ISO, it doesn't make the product better. If you have an ISO pulse, if you have an ISO pen, it does not make your product excellent, you know. It will only tell you that the company producing this product do emphasize on quality. They do run through QP, QA, QC. But how they run it through, how well they run it through, what sort of checking they do, we all don't know. Okay? So do not trust so much into, it's just like I tell you that, you know, certain brands, you know, are just branding. They're very good at marketing. Certain brands, of course, they are. ISO is like a branding. You know, this brand, I can tell you that it is not a brand that really determines the final product, how good the final product is. Some brands, obviously, they have a lot of good reputation. They've already got it. Then, you know, they don't even need ISO. People already know that, you know, Toyota don't need an ISO car. I mean, you don't need to say that you stick a sticker on Toyota and say that Toyota is a ISO car and therefore it's good quality, because people already drive it, they know it, you know, it has been done in a way that it's long lasting, it's meeting that durable or less maintenance and long lasting level 3, level 4 kind of thing. So it's always been that, you see. So that is quality assurance. Okay. And with a lot of other electrical appliances as well, you know, it does not mean that, you know, certain brands are actually very good. You know, at one stage there's a hotness of Korean brands like, you know, what is there available? LG, Samsung, you know. So those, I mean, like, you really don't need an ISO to be sticking on there to say that this is good quality. You see, I mean, like, it will speak by itself. You see, but then the system behind it, it must be created by the company itself for the particular product that they have in their hands, like washing machine, fridge, how to produce it, and what are the quality plan, quality assurance. If they have a good QMS systems, naturally the product that comes out should be good. That is what we mean by quality management. It's a process, it's not an output. Okay, right. I think this is all for the overall. And these notes here in the afternoon, you will see that I have started from QP. Okay, your notes will start, your lecture this afternoon will start from QP. Okay, all the way to part 3 of the notes, which is here. Okay, so this will be under pre-recording, and you will sit for the pre-recording this afternoon. I mean, like, I would recommend not this afternoon. I will try to process all the videos, as I've done all the videos already. So then we'll post it up, but I need to convert that into YouTube first. to make it a lot more smaller, the files, and a lot easier for you to click on and access it instead of you waiting to download every single one of the, like if I put it as a link, then you need to download every single link, and then open up the link, and then you won't like it, you won't like it. So with YouTube, I process it first. So you click on my link, and then straight away, I give you the link straight away. You click on the link, it will come up, the part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. I will show it to you this afternoon one. You see, it's all here already. All these are my recordings, so I need to convert all this to, I need to convert all this. So just be safe, just to be safe. This we would say that you try to access it tomorrow, or tonight. Try to go up tonight if you want, if you're nothing to do. With these small parts, you can even listen to it while you're driving to work. I think it's easier that way, 10 minutes. It's not so boring also. Or even when you're sitting in a toilet in the morning, you can listen to part 1, part 2, part 3, part 1, part 2, depending on how long you need to sit in the toilet. Okay. Then I think it's easier for you to digest. So I've got 5 parts here for QP, and then 3 parts here for QA, and then QC also got 3 parts. Okay, so then we have a wrap up. So there's quite a fair bit of parts for you to go through. This will be comprising of this afternoon's lecture. So the project quality plan, project quality management is what I'm doing with you all. So that will also be tied in together with your project management class. So project management class, so if you're sitting for project management class, you realize that there's no project quality management. It's already here in this 2 lecture. Okay. All right. I think that's all from me. You all need to have another round of attendance. Do you still need this attendance? All done already. How many of you are there in this class? 14, is it?
Doctor, I haven't scanned my attendance.
Okay, you can go ahead. O'Reilly,
Thank you
here.
very much. Yep.
Okay. Anyone have any opinion, anything that you want to share with me, or anything you want to talk about, or you disagree with my lecture? Please, by all means, because we're all from different industry. You all are not undergraduate students. You all are working people. If you're worried about certain things, you can ask me, or it differs from what you're practicing. It's not something that you are used to. Thomas Chong, are you are in the right room, right?
Yes.
Oh, so you didn't take you're doing part-time, is it?
Yes, part-time student.
Okay, so you're only doing this and OB.
Another one is engineering economic. Doctor.
Okay. So you didn't take project management. That's why I didn't see you in my class.
Yeah, no, doctor.
Fazana, you're still not taking project management, man? Dahlia, also I didn't see your name. Dahlia, you're also part-timer, is it, Dahlia?
Yeah, part-timer, first semester.
Okay. Fazana, I think it's been a long time since you leave our RP. I think it's time that you do something also. Don't wait until next sem to do it. I hope to see at least 1 or 2 drafts, at least 2 drafts from you this sem. Up to maybe finishing up on the methodology. Could you do that? When are you doing RP2? Next sem, isn't it? You plan to do next sem. So yeah, I strongly recommend that we finish up on your methodology. Yeah. So after you finish your methodology, at least you can go ahead and start to do data collection. Otherwise, next sem you need to do data collection, data analysis. It's a lot of work. So I hope you can start on your data collection maybe at the end of the semester already. Can we do that? Okay, So I think in the next 1 or 2 weeks, I hope to see some in the next month, or by the end of November, I hope to see at least the methodology. We settled it already. What methodology that we're using, what sort of list of what list of what kind of methods are you using if you're doing case studies or you're doing surveying work. We want to see some questions from you, and we're going to settle this by the end of this month, and then so that you can have some time ahead, after exam, you can have some time to start ahead to collect data. You can even start sending out to your, start doing data collection soon already, because otherwise next time too short of a time for you to focus on 3 chapters at the same time. Okay. All right. I will also do the attendance for this afternoon first, since you're all here. While we're doing the attendance, we can have a chit chat if you want, like on on what do you think, quality management? Is it a difficult part? Do you guys deal a lot with quality management in your workplace? Some of you yes, some of you don't, probably, yeah. Any more people from supposed to be 15? No more? All here already, huh? Supposed to be 15. I'm closing it. I'm closing it. Okay. Right. So okay, that's all. I'll see you guys in project management class. Some of you, if not, then some of you I'll see you next semester. Okay. Once I've
Thank you,
finished,
Doctor.
Yeah, once I finish posting all the afternoon's recording, I will post it on our group to let you know, okay? It will be on eLib, huh? Okay, bye. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you,
See you.
doctor. Thank you, doctor.
Bye-bye.
Doctor, so means we only meet today, is it?
Yeah, this is we meet now, and then that's it. This afternoon. All the lecture will be done by. You can listen to the pre-recording.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
doctor.
But pre-recording, I will only start putting in this afternoon. So I will once I finish all the processing, I will let you know. So you can maybe start listening to it tomorrow lah. So this afternoon you're free lah, basically. Yeah.
Understand. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you, doctor.
See ya. Bye bye.
Doctor.
Okay. Ling, you're okay, Ling?
Yes.
Everything okay so far?
Yeah.
You understand what we've been trying to say, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Email me if you have any issues, lah, huh? Okay.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.